Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of God. Just kidding, this is CCP Mindstar here. Please, everyone, give a big warm welcome. We have for you to kick off this presentation on Dominion, the senior producer of EVE Online, Mr. Torfi Frans Olafsson.
Hello everybody, welcome. So, I am just going to talk a little bit about Dominion, our upcoming expansion. Perhaps before we go into Dominion, I want to do just a little retrospective on what happened on the events preceding Dominion. So in March, we released Apocrypha. It's an expansion that we're all very proud of. The whole company gathered together and worked on it. We had people even joining us from other projects, programmers from Dust 514 and unannounced them that helped us on developing it. And we were really proud of the results. When we were starting to design Apocrypha, first we wanted to introduce Tech 3. And yeah, Lego is awesome. And I still play with Legos. And we decided we had to limit scope. We wanted, of course, to do just a broad range of ships and stuff, but we decided to focus on cruisers, on strategic cruisers, because we thought it was the best balance between affordability and DPS and size and so on. We're planning to, of course, add more types later, like frigates and battleships and so on, but that will be at a later date, soon, probably. But this is just a short video that we threw together when we were trying to get our heads around it, how it would all fit together. And the artists did an amazing job. They just took the assets and they took the models and they polished them and they polished. I actually feel that the Tech 3 ships, after like seeing the Tech 3 ships, I wanted to go back and do all the other 200 ships again, because just the amount of love that they put into them was like amazing. And we also wanted just to capture that sense of exploration again, that old sense we got, back in the days when you would go into 0-0 and there was like nobody there, and you didn't even know whether you were the first person in that particular system ever, and just to rediscover that, finding something in the middle of nowhere, and also you had to be scared to go in and get trapped and find stuff and profit, and we actually feel that worked really well. Also, when thinking about wormholes, we found this video on the internet from German scientists that actually had figured out what a real-life wormhole would look like. It's not a plane and you go through it. It's actually like a three-dimensional object, like a sphere, and you can enter it from any direction, and this is where your head goes like numb. You look back. And you can enter it from any direction, and you come out at the other end, and you can go around it and go back through it, and it's just mind-boggling. It's really awesome. It's this weird hypercube thing, and if you stay on the horizon, then you can like travel infinitely, like on the surface of a sphere. And this is physically correct. So we went and did that, because most of the things are physically correct in our game. So that's the general idea. You're seeing the other nebula in there. You're seeing the other system, and still you're seeing like perturbations and distortions in your own system. Of course, we can do that cool thing where you're like transitioning smoothly through the wormhole. It's still a jump. Blame our programmers, but no, it's pretty awesome. And of course, we had to put some nasty AI in there to farm the players. We thought the players were having too much fun. And epic mission arcs, and I think epic mission arcs are the first good iteration on the mission system for a long time, but we have a lot of other things like up our sleeves that we're planning to implement. But epic mission arcs, introducing like long story arcs where you get rich and meaningful kind of adventures, and you make decisions and they affect the outcome. I think it's a lot of fun. Now, we've got 52,000 characters that have actually started the Epic arc. Not everybody has finished, but this shows how many jumps into wormhole space are done every day. And there was a little spike at the beginning after it launched, and it went. But you can see that it's on the rise. And it just goes to show that people are still having fun in wormhole space. And most importantly, this is the number of strategic cruisers manufactured per month. Tango is coming in pretty strong there. And those of you that feel like you're just never going to get them, the prices are going down, and you may get one finally. I know one person, personally, that actually has gone in and earned the money and built it and made one. So you're probably going to be flying one soon. To sum up, we think Apocrypha was a major success. It also brought us a lot of new subscribers, which is great, which allows us to wear fur coats and eat gold. No, to make more features for you. It allows us to hire more people, to get more programmers, designers, developers, QA, whatever, and just continue building the game. We often, it's interesting, right now on Dominion there's 120 developers working on the expansion. There's around 240 people working on EVE, but there's 120 developers working on the expansion. When we released, we had 40 people working on EVE. There was 150,000 lines of code in EVE when we released, and there's like 600,000 lines or more of code in EVE today. So just, of course, a lot of our time goes into managing what we refer to as technical debt, fixing old bugs and refactoring old stuff. But just our capability to deliver features and to program and to deliver new functionality to you and improve the game is dramatically higher than it has ever been. It's always been on the rise. Now, next thing, we want to change stuff, but some people fear change, and it can be very scary. In Exodus, we introduced change. We planned it to be the exodus of people going from Empire into ZeroSec. We were going to catalyze ZeroSec. It was going to be interesting. You're going to be shooting people in the face in ZeroSec. But you can't really see it in this slide, but we introduced level 4 agents, which meant, and I've heard many stories, that they had corp mates in ZeroSec. They were going, oh, hey, I'm sorry, I actually won't make it to that camp tonight, because I'm going to go and just farm NPCs in level 4s and bathe in money. And this, sure, I mean, it's fun, and it's a source of income, but it was a shift away from the sandboxy element of the game that we like the most. So it became, we just sucked everybody back into hisec. Red Moon Rising, we did Titans, and we planned there would probably be 3 Titans in the game ever. And we gave them these massive super weapons, which were like the nuclear bomb. They're probably never going to use it. It's so awesome. It's a last resort weapon. And we've all seen the videos. But of course, Titans are not just weapons of awe and terror. They can also be a source of joy. And you can actually just do conga with Titans. So it doesn't always, you don't always do what we think you're going to do. You notice that this, the download manager I used was unregistered, but I tried to use my credit card. They just wouldn't accept it because I was Icelandic. Still, we don't fear change or evolution. And thus, we are going to be introducing a lot of change and evolution, which is maybe going to be painful to some people, but I think in the long run, it's going to make EVE a more interesting game in Dominion. We're going to be introducing a new sovereignty capture system, a new infrastructure upgrade system, which kind of goes in line with the sovereignty capture system, new in-game mail. We're always improving the new player experience, just focusing what the experience is for people that are entering the game, managing the learning cliff and dispelling those myths that it's too late to join and so on. We're putting in a new in-game browser and adding new planets and stars. We're adding pirate faction epic arcs, fighter bombers for the win, and a fleet finder. And it's pretty cool stuff. The new the kind of idea behind the new capture system. We all enjoyed that show in the 90s, the MTV Grind, but we don't enjoy grind in MMOs as much. So we just wanted a more cerebral tactical and a more kind of engaging sovereignty capture system. So maybe you've read on about how it works. It basically works, you anchor a claim marker anywhere in the system. That claim marker is visible to everybody in the system and can be blown up. You're going to have to protect it for a while it's onlining. And once it's online, you have sovereignty, but and it becomes kind of invulnerable. But in order to like destroy this claim marker, your enemy has to put down disruption fields at all the gates, and it's going to be really interesting when you have a lot of gates and hub systems, and it just and you have to like online all of them, and once all of them are online, you can actually go and blow up the claim marker and destroy it. And this system, we kind of decoupled the upgrading from the actual capturing of the systems. However, the upgrade system, the old system, it used time kind of almost exclusively and relied heavily on pauses and start bases, which we didn't like intend them to be used for sovereignty or claiming at all. So this system, it also allows you to make decisions. It's not just solve 1, 2, 3, 4. It's more you can like branch out and you make decisions on how you're going to improve and better your system. And the system requires you to live in the system. Bad sentence. And use it. So there will be some unlocks which happen if you are actively ratting in your system, if you're actively doing like scanning down and doing some things in your systems, but other unlocks, such as putting cyno jammers and other defensive measures, will not require that amount of like gameplay. It's just going to be time. But the kind of plan with this is to stop the AFK empires, which just rush in, claim everything, and log off. So there are many ways to upgrade, and these are the upgrades that we're thinking about at the moment. I'm not going to read them out, but the idea is that by activity in the system, by being active in the system, you will be able to upgrade your military and your industry, and then we will be adding other ways to upgrade the system. And as you can see, for example, the pirate, these are not the final names, pirate magnets. Having a pirate magnet, for lack of a better word, it's just going to make them like appear more. It's like putting cheese in there, and you're going to have more flies to kill. And also the quantum flux generator is very important, and that makes the probability of wormholes spawning in your system go up. And other things. So you can own your system, and depending on kind of what kind of gameplay you're looking for, how you want to be making money, and what you want to be doing in the system, you upgrade it to that. Now the fighters bombers are pretty awesome ships, and it's very pleasing to watch them on the dev's monitor now, blowing up Titans. So the idea is kind of to balance capital ships, because the dreadnoughts have been become something that they weren't supposed to do. We more thought about them for blowing up stationary objects or slow-moving objects, but they became more like anti-capital ships. And fighter bombers are for killing other capital ships, and they have citadels, which is pretty awesome. And so you better be moving when one of these is on your tail. And also the famous win button on the Titans, we're fixing that. So it's targeted. It's not an aerial effect anymore. You can't just smart bomb everybody on the grid, although it's fun for a minute for you and not the other 400 people. So it's still scary and deadly, and of course you can still insta-pot people, but you do it like, I shall kill him next. Yes, I will be pleased by killing him, and so on. It kind of makes it more interesting. It's a beautiful concept art picture of the evil weapon. So it's still pretty awesome. And if you want to know more about the game design of both Dominia and Apocrypha, I recommend this talk tomorrow at 2 in Singularity. Mark Hurd will be talking about that. We're adding epicarcs to Dominion, which are going to be relying more on speed and agility than plain tanking and TPS. And I think it's going to be kind of fun rushing through these. So they take you through the pirate underworld. You're going to have to like turn your back on some of the Empire factions and go deep and go kind of into dangerous territory. And of course, at the end, there's fat loot. The NPE group is actually populated by a lot of PV peers right now, people who just like to kill other people in computer games, which is good, because they're creating a new advanced warfare tutorial, which actually ends in you being killed and your ship being blown up. It's something that a lot of corps are actually doing when they're training new people to get rid of that fear of dying, that initial throw them off the cliff and see what happens. So we try to, and this is just another example where we are learning from you what you've been doing in-game, and we're trying to integrate into the experience for the people who are coming into the game, using best practices from players, corporations, and alliances. And we're also adding an exploration career path. Now, this is an example of a very poor mail system, and our mail system also seriously needs a revamp. This is a hello. This is just a mock-up. It's not fully integrated into the client right now, but most importantly, and this is quite revolutionary, we will allow you to sort by date. Pretty good. Our engineers have been working hard at that one. But it's also got cool stuff, like labels. We decided to use that rather than folders. It works similarly to Gmail, that you can apply labels to your mails. Some of them will be automatically labeled, and it allows you to organize your mail and access mail better. And moving forward, and this is the current implementation in client, and I promised to the programmer I wouldn't show it in this presentation, but it's there. And then further along, and you may have read the dev blog, we're not going to do this in Dominion, but we're just after Dominion, or in Q1, we're planning to give you access to your mail on the web. So you will be able to access your in-game mail from any web client. And this is a part of New Eden, which was called Cosmos before, but we're calling it now New Eden because it's your portal into the Eve world. It's Spacebook. Well, it's actually much more than that. Our engineers, after they have been working on sorting by date, they actually have built this massive nexus which allows web services and web servers to talk to the Eve game servers and do interactions back and forth, kind of like API, but better with more interaction. And the kind of end goal for that is that you will be able to manage a lot of very good. Manage a lot of in-game activities from a browser or a mobile client. And this is kind of bordering on very big moral questions. Should you ever be able to train skills from a browser without logging in? This is like a big ethical questions that we've been asking ourselves. I travel a lot, and I am very frustrated that I cannot train my skills from my BlackBerry. So it's kind of driven, swayed by that decision. But it's not just about training skills. It's also just for managing market, for managing your core, for doing a lot of these kind of offline-y things which don't involve targeting someone and shooting him in the face. So he's going to be doing that. We're beginning to see the potential now. And New Eden will have profile pages. You will have an outwards-facing profile of your character and your corporation. You can select how open you want to be towards the rest of the world. You can set your privacy settings so that nobody can ever read up about you, but you can also expose it and let people show who are your friends, who are your enemies, what your hobbies are, what colors you like, etc. And of course, very importantly, update your status and comment on other people's status. And this is going to be pretty cool, the calendar, the in-game calendar. And it allows you to organize your work. It tells you when your jobs are getting done, when you need to go and train, and and you have to go and refuel, etc. If you're organizing a mining up with your corporation, if you're organizing an engagement, a fleet engagement, or whatever, and both your corporation, alliance, friends, and CCP will be able to put stuff into your calendar, and it will just give you a better world. Now, we need a new browser. The browser experience in the game is pretty much like this. I don't know if you remember Gopher, but it was a lot of fun. It was in the heyday of the internet. We've decided to take, rather than write it entirely from scratch, even though I know people who would love to do it, because it would probably never be as good as if they would write it from scratch. We've decided to use Chromium, which is the technology behind Google's Chrome and Apple WebKit, but we had to put some layers on top of it to make it work within our in-game browser. And this is actual just software names. Osomium is a layer on top Chromium, which allows us to render inside a Direct3D client, and then Chromium process communication, and then Python runs on top of that as our method to talking to it. And this is a pretty cool browser because it's just the latest tech. So it supports HTML and 4 and everything, and has full AJAX support. So which opens up a lot of potentials if you start thinking about the sites that you or your friends can develop for Eve. Aha, there you are. Very good. Now, Flash runs on it today, but on Dominion launch we're going to disable it because there are security issues, and a large portion of the work in integrating this browser has gone into all of the security concerns, because we are not going to just open up your machine for some evil people to log into it and put keyloggers. You're going to have to click on links on the forums to get that. So it's working now on Singularity, but it's going to be disabled in Dominion, but we want it to work, and we will be evolving our security paradigm even more. It depends on making the process run within a protected memory space and having layers of security around it. And but I just was so excited when we had it running that I did this, went back to the roots. It's pretty cool. So it's a game in your game. Yes. And one more thing, as we're talking about Dominion, and these are our new planet graphics. And we are working together actually in Reykjavik and in Shanghai together on the planet graphics, and the planets that you're going to be seeing in EVE Online are the same planets that you're going to be seeing in Dust 514. And I'm told as a boss I must promote synergy. And this is one of those places because we have artists and programmers in Reykjavik which are working within the EVE client, within just our own Trinity engine. And then there are artists working within the Unreal engine, but we're using the same shader paradigms, the same shader models, and the same technology. And they're just awesome. Lights. There's no sound, so if there's somebody can sing that part from 2001 with the choir. Notice also the stars. We're also upgrading the stars. This shot doesn't fully show it, but if you zoom in, you're just going to be seeing more and more of stars. It's a pretty awesome thing. You're going to see it on Singularity probably on the next end of the next sprint. But this just allows us to go so much closer through the planets. And of course, as this is all procedurally done. So this is not a baked texture. These are procedurally generated height maps. We get sliders. We can control how much water is there on the planets. These clouds actually move. And the colors are all procedurally generated. So there's like 50,000 planets in Eve today and several hundred thousands of moons. And each of them will be unique. Of course, we're going to be using a shared library for all of them, but they will be unique. And I said, like, guys, you can't just use the moon for this one. You have to make something like original. But this actually is just a procedurally generated moon. It's just pretty awesome. It's just going to be so much more fun with engagements in low orbit after this. And we're probably going to be moving stuff closer to the planets. And we might be moving some of your stations and your bookmarks closer to the planets for you to enjoy them better. So when will all of this come out? Now, Iceland has a sovereignty day, when Iceland got sovereignty. And those of you who know the Icelandic history, it's not June 17th. That's their Independence Day. But Sovereignty Day is December 1st, 2009. So the plan is to release Dominion on December 1st, 2009. Sov Day. But, so what's going to happen now? What's going to happen after Dominion? Well, Planetary Interaction. You're going to be owning planets and managing stuff on planets, developing stuff on planets, manufacturing stuff on planets, controlling the lives of people on planets, and deaths in some cases. But we're going to talk about it tomorrow. No. But what are we going to do after we do Planetary Interaction? And what Ambulation, Incarna, what about all of that? And yes, so the roadmap is Planetary Interaction, and then Incarna, which is our current name for Ambulation. And there's not a lot to show. We had a good demo last Fanfest where we showed where you could actually undock from your ship. You went into a bar, you played the minigame with some people. But our game designers have been iterating on the game design for Incarna, making it more juicy. And they've taken a spin on it, which I think is going to be more pleasing to you. And without further ado, I'm just going to show this little teaser trailer and not say anything else. Lights. Oh. And that is that. There is no Q&A today. All questions are answered tomorrow at the forum. So thank you all for showing up for this.